President Cyril Ramaphosa has spoken out against the controversial group Operation Dudula for its stance against undocumented migrants. During his Human Rights Day keynote address yesterday, the president said Dudula's operations are acts of vigilantism. The group is facing heavy criticism for its attacks on foreign nationals.
That is why, Kerry, those who are setting up the organization saying, Bo Dudula, Bo Mangmang, Rere, that is contravening the law. We cannot allow a situation where we are going to get people who will embark on vigilantism to deal with a problem, a social problem. We must collectively as South Africans deal with it. Rona from government side, we will do our work. But we also want to say, let us work together. It's highly sensitive because this thing can soon turn out into xenophobia, and you know how the continent can turn its back on us.
Let's expand on this further. We're joined by Dr. Dale McKinley, Kopanang Africa Against Xenophobia spokesperson. The organization is rallying against xenophobia in South Africa and intends to approach the High Court to be allowed to march against Operation Dudula. That's after the initial intent was declined. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, Dr. McKinley. So as we understand, and you were hoping that the matter would be heard today. What's the update on that? Where do we sit?
Yeah, we just, in fact, just talked to our lawyers at the High Court. They have filed the application, but the urgency is not, it seems like it won't happen today. The court judge has indicated that there will be possibly a court hearing tomorrow, so we still don't know. But irrespective, we expect it to happen the next day or so on the basis of urgency. And we fully expect that the prohibition will be overturned. That's not a guarantee, but our arguments are sound, legally and otherwise. And we believe that the JMPD does not have a very strong case in terms of the reasons why they gave to prohibit the march. So at the moment, we're not quite sure as to the court date, the hearing, but should be tomorrow.
Let's expand on some of the reasons given by the JMPD. They decided it was a risk to public safety, meaning what exactly?
Well, when we asked them what did they mean by that, they basically said, well, Operation Dudula has been issuing threats that they're going to come and disrupt the march, that they're going to stop us from marching, and therefore we can't march. Now, the logic in that doesn't make any sense. If you have a group, whatever the group is, and they decide that they want to exercise their constitutional right to march, and another group or a group of people say, we don't like you and we're going to come and disrupt you, it's the job of police to protect that constitutional right. It's not their job to say, sorry, you can't march. So we don't believe there's much of a case there. And then the other reason they gave was a fake news poster that was circulating on social media, which evidently we understand Operation Dudula had manipulated from our initial poster, which said something to the effect of illegal immigrants to march against the laws of South Africa. And the JMP cited this and said, we can't allow that to happen. And we tried to tell them that this clearly was fake news. It wasn't our intention that many South Africans, as well as migrants, would be marching, but they didn't want to listen, so they said, we'll go to court.
Mm-hmm. So this has divided opinion in South Africa. As some people look for heroes, they will hail the work that is being done by Operation Dudula and speak to the fact that there are socio-economic issues that are impacting everyday South Africans that are not really being paid attention to. Then you have another school of thought that says South Africa belongs to all who live in it, including people who are not necessarily from this country by birth. In terms of the importance for your organization to actually even go to the highest court to insist that you take to the streets, why is this matter so important given the two considerations we just spoke about?
Well, it's important for 2 or 3 different reasons. One is, first of all, that our Constitution begins with, South Africa belongs to all who live in it. Basically, this is, it's not all who are not only South African citizens or all who only carry a South African ID or so forth. So we basically have a country whose fundamental laws and whose fundamental principles and values are about accepting people, especially from the rest of the continent, given our history of liberation and struggle against colonialism. So that's the first thing that we need to remind ourselves of. The second thing is that Operation Dudula and those that are targeting so-called illegal immigrants and informal traders are barking up the wrong tree. If you have a problem, if there's a problem, of which we do have, we have a problem with our immigration system. There's no denying that. But that problem lies with governments. That problem lies with the Department of Home Affairs and the criminalization of immigrants who are unable to get their papers, the bribery within the department. So if you want to change that, you go to government and you say, let's change this. You don't go to the victims of that policy, which are immigrants themselves, and start to basically violently evict them from making a living of what they're trying to do. So I think that's the second thing, is that if you have concerns around these things, go to the right places and raise them in the right places. Don't involve the victims. And the third thing is that the kind of rhetoric that we're hearing, the kind of actions that are taking place are simply dividing people. They're creating more hatred. They're creating more tension. They're going to create more conflict. This is not a positive development. It's only going to end badly. We've seen it in 2008. We've seen it in 2017. So we're appealing to those who have legitimate concerns, to those who want to raise them, to do so peacefully, to do so within the law. Let's have dialogue. Let's work together for these things. Let's not divide people, and especially on just to remember, yesterday was Human Rights Day. And that doesn't apply simply to South African citizens. We are citizens of our continent and our world as well.
Dr. Dale McKinley, we are hoping to touch base with you tomorrow to see the outcomes of that court challenge. He is the Kopanang Africa Against Xenophobia spokesperson. Thank you for your time.